Ahead on Early Birds,
Here's Patterson on the near hash.
the Falcons need a win.
It is gonna be. Looks, throws, it is caught. Zach Ertz, touchdown. Any chance of a playoff will require the Saints to beat the Bucs next Sunday and Atlanta to beat the Carolina Panthers.
And they need some help. We set the stage for Week 18 as we dive deep on Michael Penix's second act. Plus, we relive the New Year's party in the college quarterfinals. Falcons fans, are you ready to root for the Saints? Let's make a New Year's resolution that it only happens once. Early Bird starts now.
Grab a cup of your favorite Joe and let's talk Falcons football on Early Birds, presented by Mercedes-Benz.
Good morning and welcome into Early Birds. Michael Jenkins in for Shock. Happy New Year. I hope it's a good one for you and your family.
Yes, it really was. Hope it was for you too.
I appreciate that. Falcons hope it's a good start with a win over the Panthers. Let's kick things off with the opening drive. It'll be the Falcons and those Carolina Panthers tomorrow afternoon, and everybody's also going to be watching the Saints.
Ooh.
Well, the Falcons got to have a win, and they need New Orleans to win over Tampa Bay. That's the only path to the playoffs. So, Jenk, how does a self-respecting Falcons fan handle this one?
I don't know. I've never had to do it. I don't want to do it. None of the Falcons fans want to do it, but we need the Saints to win. And we also have to handle our part as the Falcons and beat, the Carolina Panthers.
Absolutely, which won't be easy, but man, it's not going to be easy following along that other one on the score apps or whatever and hoping New Orleans' score goes up, right?
Yeah, I know. Hopefully they don't show the score during the game, so we can just focus on our game.
And that's the thing. Falcons players are making a one-time and one-time only exception to one of football's best rivalries.
For one, obviously focusing on all our preparation and handling our business and trying to go out there and beat the Panthers on Sunday. And then I hate saying this, but I'll be a Saints fan. So
we got to take care of business and do our job first. That's beating Carolina. And then, didn't think I'd say this, but go Saints.
Somebody on the internet's going to get a hold of that as we continue the opening drive. All right, let's talk about Michael Penix Jr. Nearly engineered a dramatic comeback win in D.C. Penix himself admitted he missed some throws he wanted to have back. So, Jenk, what are you going to be looking for this week?
Just improvement, steady improvement. He knows he's missed those throws last week that he wants back. And so I think he has the time now to say, hey, I can make these throws. I can play in this league. I can be a huge contributor for our team and help us, do our part of getting into the playoffs.
Yeah, here's Penix on where he's seen the most improvement.
Chemistry. That's something I already know. I've known, we got to get it, and we're building it each and every day. Each and every day we're putting in that work. Today we get extra throws and stuff like that. Just trying to build that chemistry so that we can be on the same page. And I'm not sailing the ball over their heads whenever they're open.
And as we wrap up the opening drive, let's talk about this Panthers team. So they're in last place in the NFC South. They've lost 5 of their last 6 games. But remember, they nearly beat the Chiefs. They took the Bucs to overtime. Jenk, they've looked a little better with Bryce Young in this second go-round.
Yeah, they've actually looked really, really good. Every game has been close. Like you said, they almost beat the Chiefs. Every game has been competitive. Kind of a little bit of an anomaly at the end of the year to see them get blown out by the Bucs.
Right.
So hopefully we can do the same and, blow them out as well.
And they take a lot of pride in ending the Falcons season. Atlanta will try to keep that from happening. Well, welcome into Early Birds. Alongside Michael Jenkins, I'm Justin Felder. So Jenk, how do you think the Falcons players are going to handle this on Sunday, right? Are they going to watch the scoreboards? What would you do in this situation?
You just have to go out and you have to do your job. If you do your job, things will fall in place on your end. And then at the end of the game, after you've won, everybody's in the locker room looking for a TV, looking for a phone, seeing what's going on, seeing what's happening. And so hopefully the Saints do their job.
So Raheem Morris makes a call to the guy or lady who runs the Halo board and says, don't put anything up there. All right, Jenk, DJ left us the keys to the film room. I will meet you over there in just a few. But first, Arnold Ebiketie had just 1 sack before the Falcons bye week. And since then, he's ripped off 5 sacks, which leads the NFL during that span. Kind of a microcosm of what we've seen from Atlanta's entire pass rush. And Ebiketie says all those pieces working better together now. Well, that's why you see improved results as a unit. Kelly Price sat down with AK to talk to the third-year pro about just that this week.
Herbert wants to throw here. Back up in the pocket, and Atlanta gets to it. Arnold Ebiketie.
Just the finish was that last part that I was missing. And after the bye, somehow, sacks just love me.
They're just raining down.
Yeah.
I mean, part of it too, probably third season, obviously just getting more comfortable, a new kind of scheme and new coordinator and everything on that side of it. But what have you learned maybe in your third season that throughout this season you've kind of changed?
The biggest thing was kind of picking on the little things, just as small as the snap count. I think for me this year specifically, the snap count is something that I try to use a lot, especially with the home game. Just being able to get some of those jump and getting a jump on the snap kind of helps you being able to get to the quarterback as fast as you possibly could. So just learning and everything kind of slowed down, especially lately after the bye, having time to look at the film, reflect, seeing things that you can do better in terms of taking your game to the next level.
And this whole defense, I mean, 10 sacks before the bye, 21 since. I mean, that's been an incredible transformation just as a whole kind of unit. What's been behind that? I know we've heard, oh, we're putting in the work and we're just finally seeing the results, but what does that actually mean?
Well, it means for us, after the bye, I think one of the cool things we did was during practice, we would come together, kind of practice some of them stunts that we do in the game, and just making sure we pay attention to the detail and the execution is on point. And that's the biggest thing that translates during the game, because being able to rush as a unit kind of helps everybody. And if I go back to last game, one of the sacks that I had that didn't count, it was more so Grady having the pressure, making the quarterback step up so I can make the tackle. Just playing as a unit kind of help everybody. If I can make a play this time, the next play might be Grady or somebody else. So I think that was the biggest thing for us, just being a whole unit, being in sync with each other.
All right, we're with Jenk now in the film room. Easy choice of what play to break down. Michael Penix Jr., the tying touchdown, and this was a great one.
Yeah, I mean, what pressure? No pressure. 4th and 12 to tie the game and try to send it in overtime.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, let's take a look at this one. We'll play it out just for a moment. And Jenk, tell me what you see here as the route starts to develop.
So we got 4 receivers kind of running vertical routes here. Commanders dropping in 2 safeties, all right? So with these 2 safeties, this vertical route is going to have to actually bend a little bit to stay friendly to the quarterback.
Okay, I have a dumb non-football player question. Can it still be 4 verticals if you're bending back in? Because when I called on NCAA, I don't know if they do that.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be, because if he stays vertical all the way down, then it's just an easy pick for the defense.
I think we'll see exactly what you're talking about in just a moment. As we play it out and ball gets into the end zone, what are you seeing right here?
Perfect job of Kyle Pitts bending inside and getting flat in front of the safety's face, because if he stays vertical like when you play on Madden, that's going to be an interception. So ball on the receiver in the end zone, touchdown.
I don't know if we're going to get the full breakdown right here, but this is not what we want to see from Kyle Pitts with the ball on your rookie quarterback's first touchdown. Jenk, what's Pitts thinking right here?
He wasn't thinking. I mean, he just caught the game-tying touchdown. So, the emotions got to him.
Fair enough. It was the first touchdown pass for Penix. Good news, they got the ball back. It is on a mantle very proudly to be joined by many more in the future. Great breakdown, Jenk. We got more to come on Early Birds, the college football semifinals. Well, they are set. It is Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame. You know what? I didn't write down the 4th team that was in there. Do you remember?
I don't know. Who would that be?
All right. We'll talk Buckeyes as well. College ball when we come back. Plus.
Just, it starts in college. You start using your hands, things like that, and over the time, you just progress and get better and better using them.
D'Angelo Malone has played a big role in the Falcons' improved pass rush. He'll go deep when we come back.
You're watching Early Birds, presented by Mercedes-Benz. Best, nothing. And sponsored by the Georgia Lottery. Today could be the day. And the Home Depot. How doers get more done. More Early Birds coming back at you. Early Birds. It's not Saturday down south without talking college football. Brought to you by Zaxby's. Famous fingers and sauces.
I'm Georgia Chambers, sitting along Michael Jenkins for the first time to talk some college football. But before we get into the games, we want to take a second to send prayers out to New Orleans and anyone affected by the tragic events on New Year's Day. We're grateful that our crew is okay and that they've returned home safely.
Yeah, just a terrible scene there, and just hope every prayers and our thoughts go out to the families affected. Glad our crew was okay, and everybody was able to come home safely.
For sure. All right, turning now to the Sugar Bowl. Notre Dame secured its first win over Georgia, 23-10. Jenk, did this surprise you?
A little bit, yeah. I know the Georgia faithful was hoping to still get the win, even with Gunnar Stockton starting, and I think Gunnar still played well. He did enough to kind of win, to help them win, but the turnovers, special teams play, when you lose the turnover battle and you kind of lose on special teams, it's hard to win against good football teams.
Kirby Smart said after the game they beat him at their own game. But you mentioned Gunnar Stockton. He completed 20 of 32 passes for 234 yards and 1 touchdown. Did you like what you saw from him?
I did. I mean, the kid's got a strong arm. I thought he would run a little bit more, and they would kind of use the, kind of QB design runs a little bit more. But still, I think, Georgia's in good hands with Gunnar Stockton at the helm.
So even though Georgia's season comes to an end in New Orleans, players were proud of the resiliency that this group showcased.
I don't think a lot of teams could have did what we did throughout the year, and like the comebacks we had played through. So I'm just proud of how we were able to overcome a lot this year.
Just how resilient are we? Have 2 hard road losses, so we was able to bounce back and make it to the SEC championship and win the SEC championship. We didn't let what people say about us affect us. We just kept going and chopping and getting better week to week. So I'm just proud of us of how we handled the season, and we came this far.
Tough loss for the Dogs, but we got to give Notre Dame their flowers. They'll advance to the Orange Bowl and face off against Penn State, who had a dominant 31-14 win over Boise State. Jenk, did you think that Boise State was outmatched in this game?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, obviously Jency is a big part of their offense, and Penn State did a pretty good job of keeping him kind of corralled, and so they did their part of spreading the ball down the field, putting points up, and then having Boise State play from behind. So that was a tough matchup for Boise State.
So quick, who do you think wins, Notre Dame or Penn State?
I gotta go Big Ten.
Okay.
I'm going all Big Ten final here. Ohio State, Penn State, rematch. So I like it 2 years in a row, too, because we had Washington and Michigan the year before. So
all right, Jake, I know that you've been waiting all morning to talk about this. Your Ohio State Buckeyes.
Who?
Yeah, your Ohio State Buckeyes. All right, I get it. They're advancing. Georgia's not.
Yeah. I mean, they've really woken up from the Michigan loss, and they've come out guns blazing, putting up points on every possession kind of to start the game and just putting a stranglehold on the game from the start. So if they can keep that going and do the same thing here against Texas coming up, I mean, they have a really good chance to make it to the national championship.
So 41-21 was the final in Pasadena. It was a much closer game than when the two first met in the regular season. What do you feel like was different this time?
They were just more aggressive on offense, and then the defense really stepped up. We couldn't get to Dylan Gabriel the first time we saw them. They had 8 sacks. They didn't give up the big explosive plays that they did before to Tess Johnson and those guys. So kudos to the defense and the game plan of really shutting down Oregon's offense.
And the receiving corps finished with 319 yards. I know you're happy to see that.
Yeah, I love my guys catching the ball down the field. Jeremiah Smith is unbelievable as a freshman. Emeka Ibuka. I mean, those guys are the cream of the crop as receivers in college football.
So Ohio State will be taking on Texas, who edged past Arizona State in a thriller. The Peach Bowl didn't disappoint this year, 39-31 in double overtime. This game had a little bit of everything. What do you feel like this close win says about Texas's program?
They're resilient, and it showed. I really thought Arizona State was going to win this game, but Texas found a way to win when it mattered.
Cam Scatterbo, got to give a shout out to him from Arizona State. He played a heck of a game, and he was sick.
That kid did it all, and he was throwing up on the sideline, like you said. He was sick, so kudos to Scatterbo.
So I got to ask, do you think your alma mater has what it takes to beat the Longhorns?
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
There's no bias in that, right?
No, not at all.
All right, and last question I have to ask, who are you picking to win the Natty?
Ohio State.
Okay. There might be a little bias in that, Justin. I don't know. Well, thank you for your insight all season long. We really appreciate it. Justin, over to you.
I'm looking forward to that Ohio State-Texas matchup. That might be a de facto championship game. We shall see. Well, D'Angelo Malone was a high-five sports grade at Cedar Grove High School in his 3rd NFL season. He's building a bigger and bigger role on Atlanta's defense. That included a 2-sack performance a few weeks back in Las Vegas. We asked D'Angelo to detail his favorite pass rush moves. He explains in this week's Going Deep.
My initial thought is, just get out the ball. Once I get out the ball, I kind of like to dictate the tackle sets. So if he give me like a overset, kind of take the inside. If he kind of like shoot the hands as a swipe, little things like that.
So it's a lot more kind of reading what they do and reacting?
Most definitely, reading and reacting.
How do you learn to do that?
Honestly, it just just, starts in college. You start using your hands, things like that, and over the time, you just progress and get better and better using them.
Is the biggest thing you're looking for how they set? Is it their hands? Like, what are you reading and reacting to?
Honestly, like I said, the set, the way their foot is, the way they kick step, the way they overset, things like that.
And can you kind of research and have like a couple little tips like, oh, this tackle I'm going to see, he does X or Y? Like, is that something you can do?
I would definitely say I watched a lot of Von Miller, so the way he utilized his pass rush and got around the guys, that's why I kind of like made my game off of.
Well, still to come, a pair of Falcons were named to the Pro Bowl games, and the team had a creative way to deliver the news. That's next on Early Birds.
Going Deep is brought to you by Zaxby's, famous fingers and sauces. We're getting your Saturday started right. Early Birds is back in a moment.
Oh my God, I don't even know how to feel for real.
So the Falcons had Chris Lindstrom and Kadero Hodge in their studio reading off a teleprompter like we're doing now, and they put in the script, I'm a Pro Bowler. So that's kind of a funny surprise. Two deserving guys, Jenk.
Oh, well deserved. Lindstrom, obviously one of the best in the league at his position, and to see Kadero Hodge get in, that's awesome on special teams. We've seen him block punts. I mean, he's covering on kicks, and then still, when he gets spot duty in at receiver, he's making plays.
Absolutely. Lindstrom, his third Pro Bowl. Hodge, his first. Well, as the Falcons continue to work towards wins, the team's medical staff and the NFL are working to make the game safer. That includes preventing long-term head injuries like CTE. That's the focus of this week's Emory Road to Recovery.
CTE is a complex diagnosis and condition that some athletes and some non-athletes develop in their lifetime. And certainly understanding how repetitive head impacts or repetitive head injuries can create a cumulative effect and maybe increase your risk of CTE is something that we still don't know everything about that we want to know. And we'll continue to push forward in studying that and learning more about that. It's obviously a hot topic as it comes to youth sports. I think with CTE, it's something that we really need to be proactive about, studying further, understanding the dynamics of the brain and head injuries in football in particular and how that applies to CTE. Like I said, the helmets have become amazing in the technology and they will continue to do so. Limiting head injuries in the rules of the play, limiting head injuries and impacts in the practice restrictions. And, I think there's an evolution there that has occurred from what it used to be in the league, which has also been positive and created a positive impact on head injuries in general. I think it's at the front of everyone's mind, as it should be. And both as a parent and as a physician, I am very invested in making sure that we continue to push forward in prevention of head injuries and lessening of the risk of future CTE.
Still to come on Early Birds, the Falcons and Commanders coaches teamed up to honor a former colleague. The story after the break.
You're watching Early Birds, presented by Mercedes-Benz, on your official home for Falcons football, Fox 5 Atlanta. Early Birds has been presented to you by Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing.
Well, last Sunday, Falcons and Commanders coaches climbed the stairs of Washington Stadium in honor of former assistant coach Greg Knapp. The event worked to raise awareness of the dangers of distracted driving, and Coach Knapp, I know, meant a lot to these coaching staffs and to you as well, Jenk.
Yeah, he was my OC when I was here with the Falcons, and just a great guy, great human, great father, a great man, and so it was sad to see him depart.
Absolutely. It was a great cause to see Dan Quinn's staff in Washington and Raheem Morris's. Before we go, Jenk, how you feeling heading into tomorrow? Falcons still hope, but they need help.
Falcons win, Saints lose.
Okay, you need
Saints
to
win. Saints win. Saints win.
No.
See, it's ingrained in us.
It's hard to do. I appreciate you trying. All right, that's it from us here on Early Birds. For Michael Jenkins, I'm Justin Felder. Have a good morning and a great rest of your weekend.